Starbucks is getting into NFTs, and I, for one, could not be more confused.
Huh. I've socialized to the point of being unable to socialize anymore. Social fatigue is real, yo.
Oh, I hear that. My love language is doing laundry at whatever time I desire. So sorry, y'all, can't make that dinner party.
I ate a burrito for lunch, followed by an ice cream cone. Will I fall asleep during this show? That's a hard maybe.
Oh, let's hope not. Have such a good day. Hello, world, and welcome back to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do just that.
And so much more. Not just that, like all the
I
things.
know.
Sarah.
We have many tasks.
Many
for you.
tasks at hand every week for you. Episode 164. How y'all doing out there? Do you sense a tiny, slight fall vibe in the air? Because I do. It's very slight, but it feels good. We're upon a transition.
There is, we definitely are. You know, the sun kind of creeps up at a different angle.
Yeah, and it's
during the
going down
day.
earlier now.
Yeah,
Instead
it
of
definitely
9,
is.
it's like 7:30-ish or something like that. And you're right, totally
Around
different angle. Yeah.
Yeah, around here, it's in fact even this morning, because we had an arborist come out last week, which is a whole thing. Because not trying to have trees fall and kill anybody.
Maybe you should explain to people what an arborist is for people who don't know.
Oh, yes. So a person who makes sure that trees are growing appropriately.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a branch that might be problematic or maybe might fall or
impale
is getting
someone.
too close to too close to the roof of a house, all of
Exactly.
that stuff. These
important
are
stuff.
things that you have to deal with.
Oh, it's important stuff for sure.
When you got trees on the prop.
It's a liability. It's all kinds of things. I mean, it could ruin the house. It can bring in critters. It can hurt somebody. Yeah, it's a serious thing when you own property, for sure.
Indeed. So that's always a thing that Heather and I are dealing with. But Heather, I had a weird week the last week.
Do tell.
Well, I shall. So when we spoke last, I said, there's some like medical things that are going on in my life, and that kind of sucks, but I'll keep you all posted when I have something to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything to tell at this point, but just to give you just a little look into what goes on in certain people's lives, and some of you probably can totally relate. I had to get a procedure done last week, and it was in a radiology department of Kaiser, which is my healthcare provider. And at the last minute, they were like, we can't do what we said we were going to do. So you're going to have to come back for the rest of that. And that is very disappointing on many levels. First of all, me being like, oh man, I already cleared my schedule for this.
Yeah, you went all the way over there.
Yeah. But also, I have to pay for this because when you have insurance, you have a deductible. And my deductible has not been met for the year because all my crazy stuff happened last year. So it's like, okay, well, every time you reschedule something, I'm still paying for that first appointment that I came for, which is like $2,000.
No way.
Right? Like, we're not talking about just like, just like making sure my heart rate is good. Like, no, we're talking like ultrasound, MRI, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was pretty mad.
That's really frustrating. So they don't make exceptions for, the fact that it was their bad and they could give you, you don't have to pay for the appointment. I know you did some stuff, but maybe they can prorate it. That doesn't seem right. But our healthcare system is not right. So
indeed, I know. And I could go on and on about, how much I thought that this should have been handled differently. But the long and short of it is I continue to have, some stuff that I have to have looked at.
Mhm.
And there are, certain tests, ultrasound, MRI, that are different,
Mhm.
but they kind of are, at least in my case, meant to accomplish the same thing.
Sure.
But in several cases now, they've been like, yeah, the ultrasound was inconclusive, so we need to do an
What?
MRI now. Where
Ay,
I'm like,
ay,
but
ay.
so why did I even pay for that ultrasound, which was like really expensive?
Yeah.
If I'm just gonna get dumped into the MRI thing, like, which I don't want because I hate MRIs, but like I'll do it. What the
Can you
heck?
try to fight it? I mean, there's got to be a way for you to at least try to be like,
Yeah.
yo, like I went all the way out here, I didn't it's that is so not right. I mean, I would at least try. Yeah, that is a real
Yeah. I
bummer.
mean, I behind the scenes, I am doing as much as I
Yeah,
can, but
yeah,
I think just in the general vein of talking about healthcare, I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to the
sure.
fact that this ish is really frustrating
Yeah.
sometimes,
Oh yeah.
and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a medical professional. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I rely on these people to tell me what to do.
Yeah,
But a lot of that is just like it's like human behavior. People
totally.
saying, "Oh, sorry, we can't do this today. We have to reschedule."
Yeah. I had a
Etc.
friend mention something because they had to do some like routine stuff. This was over the weekend with one of my girlfriends who came up, and they said a similar thing that, I mean, they said that the reason was they just have nobody. They have like no staff, and so much staff has dropped off. I mean, I'm sure there's many reasons, and I'm not saying that's the reason for your situation, but it's like the system is just so broken, and whether or not it's lack of staff, pandemic, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons that go into a domino effect, supply chain, whatever it is, but it's just overall broken and it has been for so long. And it's hard to believe that it's ever not going to be broken, and actually, I mean, I hear stories about various broken healthcare problems every day, like on the radio and stuff like that, and people going to Canada and Mexico to get treated and getting their prescriptions from other countries. And it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see how how and if we will bounce back from. And I'm saying that we were broken pre-pandemic, but we're even more broken now. So I just feel like it's just going to reverberate for a long time. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. That is such a bummer, and having to wait another week to go and do it again and not even know for sure if it's going to happen is such the pits.
It
You're a trooper.
is. Oh, well, thanks, and I know that people go through much worse than
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just especially one of those things where I had to like come to terms with, okay, I have health
Mm-hmm.
insurance. Last year, when, I ended up having to deal with a lot of health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My deductible was met very early on. All of my surgery and stuff was all paid for behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
because I had met my deductible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that deductible was $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm still recovering from that because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't $250,000,
Yeah.
which it would have been
Yeah.
had I not had health insurance.
Yep.
American dream. But this year, here here we are again where I'm like, "Oh crap. I didn't have surgery yet. Like my deductible hasn't been met. Like how much is this pathology going to be? It's probably going to be about $7,000,
Oh,
once we're done with this." And that is like just preventative.
God.
If there's anything else going on, then we have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it is debilitating.
Yeah, and it's like when you really separate yourself from, I mean, it's beyond infuriating. It's like it just gets under your skin, and it shouldn't be this way. This is not right. In other countries, humans are taken care of.
It all depends on the country,
Sure,
of
of course, in
course.
in various other
Yeah.
countries.
Could also be a lot
Oh,
worse, but
absolutely. It always
yeah.
can. Well, I'm sorry. That is the ultimate pits. And
I did not mean to bring us down at the beginning of the show, by the way. I just, in the interest of full disclosure, I thought y'all might want to know what's been going on.
well, I think this is good because this is the show that sort of unpacks it is a little bit of an absurd thing about human life. I mean,
Yeah,
it really is. It
indeed.
applies. And, we've talked about this before on the show that we like to be open and honest. That's kind of what our show's about. We like to kind of talk about our personal lives and kind of what we're going through as we're in the deep adulting right now. And, I know from just talking to 10 girlfriends over the weekend how everybody's dealing with some serious deep adulting. You reach your middle age, if you want to call it that. I don't like calling it that, but things get kind of real. Things get kind of serious. Yeah, like some health stuff happens. Some people you care about get sick and things happen to them. There's so much serious stuff that everybody I know is dealing with. You're not alone, and I'm here for you. I am a shoulder to cry on, and I will talk you off the ledge at any time.
I know you will. I know you will.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess
Well,
on
good
some
stuff.
on some I don't know, not brighter side. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not slurring as much on the show today. This is the first show in quite a while that
Oh,
I'm
this is
not
post
wearing my
Invisalign.
Invisalign. Yeah, it's and it's funny because I stopped wearing them during the day last week. I'm still wearing them at night. I have one set that I'm wearing until they're basically, we're doing some fine tuning. I'm still gonna have to wear some trays, maybe for a month, maybe for two, maybe less. I'm not really sure yet. But since my teeth are mostly straight, we're just fine tuning this one side that hasn't caught up with the other side. And so what they did is they kind of remapped my mouth,
Mm.
to create a few more trays that help move just one side so that they won't affect the other side.
Yeah.
Because the other side is just like pretty much
Well, and
done.
the bite is important too.
The
Like
bite's
people don't really
important.
think about that, but it's like if it's not if the top and bottom don't align right, then you get kind of weird erosion or, whatever.
That's exactly what's going on right now. It's very slight, but I do notice because they were saying, if you keep them out for, you're going to feel they're going to move right away. And I'm not joking. Like by the end of the day, and I'm not wearing them all day, and I put my trays on at night, I feel they're very tight and I feel my
Mhm.
bite is slightly off. Like it's not quite there yet, but it feels good to not have them in my mouth because I do listen to past shows. Look at me not being able to talk even without them in my mouth. But yeah, so this is kind of exciting. It's just easier to talk. And I have a very very important salsa update for all y'all who care
Oh my
and who have
God,
who listened
Heather.
to last week's show. A couple things. So I had mentioned that I have a salsa that I love. It's my favorite. I buy lots of it every year. I eat it every day. Sometimes I eat it just for lunch. I mean, with chips, of course, chips and salsa. And I had found out that they were going to discontinue this particular salsa. And so sometimes I think it's fun to like reach out to the company just for like shits and giggles. Like they probably won't write me back. But just, what's going on? What's going on behind the scenes there? Maybe they'll let me
Yeah.
know. Maybe they'll let me in on it. Maybe they'll give me a hot tip on some new salsa that I can try. Anyway, so I did write them. It was a pretty simple email. Just, hey, just kind of wondering, like, I love this salsa and I was really sad to
I
hear
love
that.
I I love how you're like, I care about the salsa enough
Well, okay.
to just like send an email, like just in case.
And I'm a busy
You know?
girl. I'm a busy girl. For me to
Yeah.
step back and write this email, but let me actually take a
Just
step
like
back and explain
I really care about your
how
salsa,
much I
please. An
care.
update.
Because listen, here's the thing too, is that I am so much more on a eating from home tip. since the pandemic, I mean, I'm not living in Los Angeles anymore, in a big city where I can walk to a bodega or I can walk to a great little taco stand, a block away. I'm not there anymore. I'm deeper into the trees, and it's harder for me to kind of get out there. So I think I've leaned into like really good local products that I can just be like, oh, I don't need to go out and have a taco. I can make my own at home with this awesome salsa. So that's kind of why I
Yeah.
put so much like emphasis on it. But so they wrote me back, like, I'm not even joking, like within 24 hours. They said, thank you for your email. We have had to make the difficult decision to discontinue the Mas Salsa line due to economic factors as well as a complex regulatory environment. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. And it just brought me so much joy to just be heard.
Get an answer.
Yeah, get an answer
Yeah.
and to just be like,
Like, even though you're like, "Well, it doesn't give me the salsa I wanted," but, like, the fact that the company was like, "We hear you, and here's
yeah,
why."
and they may have gotten a lot of other emails. I mean, I would imagine I might not be
Yeah,
the
it
only
might be a
one.
boilerplate,
It could be
response, but, like,
yeah, for
even
sure.
so, it's like but, yeah, you feel sort of vindicated, like, "Okay, okay. They
Yeah.
felt the need to respond to me because, like, I love their salsa, and they can't provide that anymore."
Yeah, and also, so it was so cute. Runtfish from our Discord responded
Hi,
about my
Rumfish.
salsa, my little salsa issue, and they said, I used to go to Tommaso's, which is the brand, when it was a restaurant in Old Town Eureka, because they live up here near me. And
Mhm.
years ago, they used to go to the restaurant. I wasn't familiar with that. And they asked about if I had tried their other local salsa, Bien Padres, and that's their go-to. So, Runtfish, I am totally going to go to the store tomorrow and look for this Bien Padres. Hopefully, the co-op has it. Thank you for the suggestion. It's been kind of a salsa tasting weekend because I bought a bunch of different kinds to see if I can find a new favorite. But I kind of got my girlfriends involved because I did have an excellent girls' weekend. This was the official 2022 girls' weekend, which means that every single year I have a group of LA friends. Most are in LA, some are in the Bay Area, and it's just kind of a crew of friends that I've been close to for many, many, many years. I think I'm on maybe, I don't know, maybe this is our 10th annual girls weekend. I don't know. Maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's 8, but I feel like it's close to 10, and most of the time we go to Palm Springs and we rent a house and we have a pool and we cook and we drink and we
Yeah,
lay in
yeah.
floaties and we have we catch up, and it's an annual event. And last year we went to Joshua Tree, rented a house. It was very fun. And then this year everybody wanted to come up here. And I thought, well, it's kind of an unconventional girls' weekend, according like historically, because, my boyfriend's here, my sister's currently here, my animals are here. I'm not like away in like a different place away from home. This was
Yeah, you're
actually, I'm
hosting. You're
hosting.
not on vacay.
Exactly. And so I was totally pumped. As you heard last week, I was like, hostess with the mostest. I was excited. I, stocked up on all the things, and I was, had this whole rant and all the energy and pep in the world. And then and it was so fun. I mean, it was just great. It was just like the highlight was just like hanging out with cool, funny, smart gals, enjoying life. We hiked and ate and drank and played games and laughed, and it was a really, really fun time. And I would do it again all over again every single year, maybe more often. However, I felt like a pumpkin in Cinderella yesterday. In fact, I kind of felt that way each night around 9 o'clock. I felt like I turned into a pumpkin because, it was all day. It was like all day we did
Yeah.
stuff, and then we had
You're
dinner at
also
night.
not like you're not a big nighttime gal.
No, mm-mm.
Like, I feel like you go like ripcord,
Yeah,
night,
yeah, bye.
everybody.
Yeah, I turned into a
Yeah,
pumpkin. Yeah, basically. And
yeah.
there's a couple other girls that do that too, but yeah, I just like shut down. And I like normally, I mean, I'm like I used to be a hyperactive. I don't know if I'm hyperactive now, but I do have a lot of energy. But yeah, I do. It's like after a while I'm
And,
like my
well, I
batteries
mean,
run
I
out.
think yeah, yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
not a
think a lot of
robot,
people can
Sarah.
relate to that.
I
No,
guess
no,
robots
I mean, I
batteries, go out too,
it's
but
funny, I could, give you grief about this, but, like, I'm also the person who's like, "Oh, I'll never host a party.
Yeah.
Way too hard.
Yeah.
I'm already tired
Yeah.
thinking about it."
Yeah.
So kudos to you for
Thanks.
doing that, and it sounds like everybody had a really good time, and that's
Yeah, it
awesome.
was really, really fun. I mean, I think I'm pretty socialized out, but that doesn't mean, I mean, like I said, I just like love these
Yeah,
women
you gotta
and I
recharge,
got to
and then you're gonna do it
recharge.
again.
Yeah, next week I'm sure I'll be ready to party again. But yeah, it was a special time and it was funny though. I kept thinking about that movie Run Lola Run. I don't know if anyone has seen that out there, but just look it up.
I've seen it.
I think it's Tom Tykwer is the director, but it's about a woman who's just on the run. Like she's just running through. The whole movie is her running through, just doing like, heart pumping, having to deal with all this stuff. And I kind of felt like that the last week because I was trying to put closure on all my work before everybody showed up. And I kind of didn't. Like I was kind of rushing to the finish line to like get all my stuff done. But then things were like happening as people were here and I'm like trying to just like delegate, do things and everything. So yeah, I probably I expended a lot of energy, but I'm so excited for like a quiet week this week, catch up on all the work. And what are you guys up to? What did you do this weekend? Please email
Yeah.
us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. I mean, I want to hear from you. I don't want to keep listening to myself.
I know. I mean, we're just an echo chamber of whatever, guys. Help us, help you. I know we've talked about this before, but every time when you every time we talk about sort of like unconventional movies, when you mention Run Lola Run, which you actually mentioned to me earlier in our Slack,
Yeah.
just like, oh man, I am
I said like run,
tired.
Heather, run or something like that.
Something like that. I'm reminded of this movie that I loved, which was, mm, gosh, maybe 5 years old now,
Mm-hmm.
called Victoria,
Mm.
which was a movie based in Berlin, but not real. Well, it's a German movie, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
just based on where that doesn't matter. What matters is that the movie is all one shot.
Oh yeah.
One shot.
I
There's
love
no
that.
cuts
Mm-hmm.
in the entire movie. And that's sort of a, you kind of go like, oh, it's a gimmick, that's been done here and there,
Yeah.
or like people say like, oh, this entire movie is shot on an iPhone, like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, look at us,
Yeah.
kind of thing. This movie is cray.
Victoria, you
And
said?
it's called Victoria.
Huh.
Yeah. And it's so it's already good, but when I watched it, I'm positive we talked about this on the show because I feel like I'm like repeating myself. But when I watched it the first time, I was like, because I love, just kind of, foreign movies. I was like, there's something weird about this movie. I don't know what's weird about it, but like the scenes are a little too long, or like the shots are a little different. There is not one cut in the entire movie. But Heather, enough about weird movies that do cool things that we like. Um, I have a couple of updates.
Oh, do
Would you
tell.
like to hear
I
them?
would love to
Okay.
hear them.
Number one, and this has to go first, is how I love my vitamin water.
Oh yes. Oh
Um,
yes.
there are vitamin water is very sugary. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's like
It's
so
very
good for you.
mainstream of you.
It's a sugar drink.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Disguised as vitamins.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay, we're all on the same page here. However, there's a certain flavor. It's called
Oh,
XXX,
I've had
which
that
is
actually.
acai, blueberry, pomegranate. Like that's
Triple
totally my
X.
jam, right?
Totally.
And like you cut it with some water and then it's
Uh-huh.
not that sugary and you can drink it over a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Love the vitamin water. But I haven't really looked at, and I don't know if it was always this way or not, but I haven't looked at, some kind of the fine print
Sure.
because they try to get creative on their labels. And so this particular flavor,
Mm-hmm.
XXX, which might, make somebody who's a teenager be like, lol, like a porn movie kind of thing. They have addressed this, in fact. They
Oh.
say, they say XXX FAQs answered. Number one, Didn't do naughty movies in college. Don't bother searching.
What?
Right. Like this is like a brand of water that someone like this.
Wow.
Number two, Heather,
Uh-huh.
doesn't do anything for you down there. This is a thing
What?
that's printed on a
Maybe they
label of a
mean
drink.
down under, like in
No,
Australia or
they
something.
don't. They 100%. And then the third one is like, does mean it has three key antioxidants, selenium, vitamin A, and vitamin C. We good? This is printed on
Wow.
the label
You know,
of the drink that I'm drinking right now, and I have to say, I'm not sure I can do it anymore.
yeah, I don't know if I could buy into that, but Sarah, I think it's a very competitive landscape for power drinks. I guess sports drinks, whatever you want to call them.
But I never once thought like, oh, this might be like a aphrodisiac. Like that is no, I wouldn't buy it for that reason. Like
Well,
I'd
I
be like,
think
oh, can't
I
deal with
think with
that.
that name, you would maybe think that, but but
Maybe.
I mean, triple X, it could be a lot of things like extra credit.
It's
I don't
just so
know.
strange. It was just so like I looked at it, I'm kind of in the middle of other things, working on our show, among other things, and I was like, what?
That's
What
pretty over the
is
top. And I
what
remember
is
their labels
this?
being kind of like cheeky, but like that's like taking it too far. But I have a
Trying to
small
be a little
story
extra, yeah.
actually from this week. So my
Okay.
sister, she was waiting for me. I was actually getting a massage. We do this thing where she gets one and I wait for her down the street at the cafe, and then we swap. And she was down at the cafe and she wanted to get like an Italian soda, which I first of all was like, really? Like you people do that still? Like I don't know, maybe I would do it if I was like in Italy or something. And I was at like a little cafe and I would get like
I mean, it
it's very
probably
novel.
tastes good here too.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I haven't gotten one of those in years. So first of all, I thought that's a little odd that she's getting an Italian soda, but it was the middle of the day. She didn't want to get coffee. And so the girl at the counter, talk about supply chain woes. She goes, "Yeah, I'd like to have this, Italian soda." And she goes, "Yeah, we actually ran out of soda water, but may I recommend doing it with a Sprite?" And my sister didn't mean to, but she blurted out, "Oh, hell no." And the girl was like completely like spun out because she just like reacted with such intensity. She didn't mean to, but she's just like, that is
She
like the
was just like in her mind,
sugariest,
she's like, no, that's not the drink I
like
want.
Sprite, that would be disgusting. Like that would be the most sugar overload like ever. And it was just this really funny
Yeah.
like scenario. The girl was so shocked. She's like, "I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for making that suggestion." But it reminded me of the all the cafes in Iowa that were pushing the like syrup. Like that was like a thing. Like everybody uses syrup, it seems. At least where I went in Iowa. I don't know.
I mean,
Too much
listen,
sugar.
I am not going to say that I don't drink sugar
Hmm.
because I do.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. My vitamin water or, wine has sugar
Sure.
obviously in it. And I'm not much of a sweets person, but like you still consume a lot of sugar just living your life,
Oh, absolutely.
even if you have a balanced diet. But I know what your sister was thinking. In that moment, it's like, no, you're going to ruin it.
Yeah, and
Do not put Sprite in
I
there.
also like I'm choosy about what sugar I consume. Okay, wine to me, yeah, I don't think about the sugar so much, but like yes, that's something that I will choose to consume and take on the sugar. But like last night, for example, I had a hankering for Oreos, so I ate some of the natural. There's lots of faux
The
Oreos out there.
Numinos.
It was like a Numino, but it might have been like Nature's Path or something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
They're not
same
as
idea.
good.
Got it.
Let's be honest, but they taste healthier. And actually, my sister brought the whole package over to the couch last night, and she dropped the package, and we didn't think anything fell, but then this morning we saw Ziggy playing with an Oreo. It was like half eaten, like chasing it around the house. But
At least he
anyway,
wasn't eating it.
I know I think he probably accidentally ate a little bit because there was like a piece like off of it. But see, I'd rather eat like a bag of Oreos, which not the whole bag, but I'd rather eat Oreos as my sugar intake than a Sprite. That's my point, Sarah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the way that, there's certain things that there's certain things where I'm like, just not going to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like I care about my body just too much to
Yeah.
do that.
Uh-huh.
But then there are other things where I'm like, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, totally.
I'll eat Cheez-Its for dinner, guys. Not a problem. Like if I'm just like not that hungry anyway, like they're yummy. I love a
I
good
actually
snack.
ate for when I was on a plane last when I was going to Chicago, I ate Cheez-Its and edamame for dinner on the plane.
That sounds good to me.
I
That
know.
like sounds like
Savory snacks.
how nice. And like ask maybe for a water or two and you're good to
Oh,
go.
dude. Yeah. It was actually, it satisfied me. It's hard to explain, but I didn't have to eat anything when I landed. I felt like I had dinner.
Well, speaking of travel, I will be traveling soon. I'm going to a very dear friend's wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really excited about it. And it's not going to be like a huge wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It's in New York, but I think I'm gonna know the majority of the people who are going to this
Mm-hmm.
wedding,
That's
and
fun.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. Some of these people I haven't seen for years.
You're gonna be like, hi, hi,
And
hi, hi, hi. Like you're gonna be so overwhelmed,
just so
like
yeah,
seeing
there's
all
going to
these
be a
people
lot
you
of
know.
like, oh my gosh, how have you
Yeah,
been,
totally.
which is exhausting,
Yep.
especially when you're traveling, but
Mm-hmm.
I am really excited about it. But the other day, because I had gone to another wedding. It's been quite a wedding year for
Mm-hmm.
Sarah. A couple months ago in Ohio, there was this whole thing about like, what am I gonna wear and what dress am I gonna wear, and I just sort of like stopped caring
Mm-hmm.
about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just sort of like went with the flow, and it was fine,
Yeah.
and it was not a problem. Nobody cared. I was just being extra. This wedding, I I kind of know that people are gonna show up looking
Yeah.
nice. This is just it's just that kind of way.
Oh, totally.
And I'm not the biggest high roller in the room, but I'll rise to the occasion.
Yeah, for sure.
So I bought a really cute dress online. In fact, as we're recording this, it's supposed to be delivered like any second.
Oh my
It's supposed
gosh,
to be
so
delivered
exciting.
between 2 and 4 p.m. Pacific today. So I have to like
So
put it
exciting.
on and see if it fits, but I really hope it does because it's so cute. It was a big gamble,
Mm-hmm.
buying not, this is not a $20 dress.
Mm-mm.
This is like a dress that I would have, for
Or
years
maybe
probably.
resell it.
Anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
exactly. Like it's a little bit of an
And
investment.
dresses are like tricky because, I mean, at least for me, and I feel like I know my sizes when it comes to jeans and t-shirts and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, a dress can fit so differently. But I don't know. I saw a picture of it and I think it looks real cute and it's going to fit you real nice.
Oh, thanks, Heath. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I mean, as long as it's like if it's too tight, I'd be like, I can do
Yeah, totally.
this.
Stop eating
Watch
Cheez-Its for a
me.
week.
Watch me, y'all. In the next 3 weeks, I will get into
Cut
this
down on that
dress.
vitamin water.
If it's too big, yeah, exactly. If it's too big, it's like, well, you can get a tailor to also help. So
Hmm.
like, nobody's freaking out yet. I
Hmm.
haven't even seen the damn dress, but it is so cute. And I'm really excited. And it kind of like gave me a little bit new life of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to travel. It's going to be super fun. I'm going to be in New York City for the first time in years.
Hmm.
I mean, legit 3 years, which is unusual for me.
Uh-huh.
And, we're going to rock this city.
Yeah, dude. Yes, you are so gonna rock it. I'm really excited for you. I'm gonna live vicariously through you because I miss New York and I love New York in the fall when like just because I can feel a little bit of the fall here, just like a tinge of that. It's like a nostalgic feeling in the air
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, like the holidays are coming and New
The
York
light is
really,
different.
yeah, the light's different. The sun goes down
Yeah.
sooner, and you want to like I don't know wear just comfy slippers and boots and that kind of thing. And New York totally has that feel. Especially New York, especially the East Coast. So I'm jelly. I think it's going to be super fun. So I want to hear all about it, and I'm sure
Definitely.
that I
And like
will.
this isn't, we're gonna be doing episodes of the show before my trip happens. So like it's not like happening
I
tomorrow
love
or
how it's
anything.
like,
But
I feel
I
like
will let you know
years.
how the dress
Thank
fits.
you. I actually, I think about, years back when we pre-pandemic, the before times, and we were doing this stuff all the time. We were like going to fancy events. We were, you know, I don't know, we were
We were
gallivanting
young.
these lovely
That's what we were.
cities.
We
Exactly.
were
So
young and we weren't tired, Heather.
I know.
That's
Tell
what it
me about
was.
it. I actually, yeah. I mean, I really hit the sheets last night, Sarah. I think the amount of socializing I've done in the last 2 weeks, I feel like I needed like 3 or 4 nights to recover as opposed to one. Like back in the day,
Yeah.
it was like one night, I'm good the next day. But I want to do a little shout out to one of my favorite all time film directors, Jean-Luc Godard, who passed away yesterday at 91. I
Wow.
mean, wow. Like,
That's a good
it's a
run.
really good run. And he was one of the kind of, the French New Wave 60s and 70s. He essentially was, I would say, one of the top at least three that really influenced me to go into film and television.
Hmm.
I really, he opened up my world, and especially like living in France and being exposed to his films kind of shaped me in a lot of ways. And still to this day, I think it's shaped my fashion sense, my artistic style. Like it's shaped me as a person. And so I just want to shout out to him, and may he rest in peace. And it's interesting because yesterday, I didn't even realize this, but I don't know if you do this where you put a bunch of stuff in your car. You're like, I'm going to go get this stuff hemmed. I'm going to go to the dry cleaner eventually. And I'm going to go to this thrift store and drop off all this stuff. And so you just put it in your trunk to do it
Yeah.
because
And then you're like, well,
and then you
I
never want to
didn't
do
get
it.
to
And
it.
so it's there
And
for
like
like
it's in
two
my trunk,
months.
so I can't see it.
Exactly. See, I
And then it
am the
becomes like a
queen of that.
living, like psychotic animal
Exactly.
in your, yeah. Hmm.
So I've had this
Been there.
poster. It's like a roll, like a container that has posters in it. Because I want to get some stuff framed because we have a lot of wall space, and I would like to put some art up. And I have
Yeah.
this Jean-Luc Godard poster that I've had for a really long time, and I actually have a version of it that I've had for probably 15, 20 years that I bought at an Agnes B in some city. I want to say it was San Francisco, but it may have been New York. It may have been Los Angeles with a friend of mine. And it's so thrashed. And so about 6 months ago, I bought a new one thinking I'll frame this and get rid of the old one because it's so banged up. And so
Mm.
yesterday, I happened to be near the frame shop, and I knew Jean-Luc Godard passed away in the morning, but I like didn't realize I was going to have time to go to the frame shop. And I'm in the
Oh,
frame
yeah.
shop, and I'm
A
laying
little
out this huge
serendipity.
poster, and I didn't even think about it until I laid it out on the table. And I was like, "Oh man, he actually died this morning." And the guy was like, "Huh?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. It was all just my own
Yeah. Do
pure
you want this thing
individual
framed or
joy."
not, lady? You're like, oh, it's really meaningful, actually.
Anyway, I thought it was a really sweet moment. I felt bonded with him. But yeah, so I know that we've actually covered this topic many times because it is really fascinating to me. And I'm not going to get into anything super profound here. But since I have seen a lot of my friends over the course of the summer, I've had a lot of hosting at the house. I've been back and forth to LA where a lot of my friends live. And, it's been an interesting couple years in terms of relationships. I think we could all admit that. And not even just friendships, but even like acquaintances, people that activity friends, work friends. I mean, people who you used to see every single day of the work week, and then you only
Hmm.
saw them on Zooms and that kind of thing. Like so many friendships and relationships have changed in the last few years. In fact, I was reading an article that I think it's the in all of human history, and I don't know how you track this, but it's the hardest now to like make friends because of what happened to like our world and our society. It's just really interesting. In fact, I don't really think that it's hindered me from making new friends. I think if I'm around people that are interesting, like I'm pretty outgoing, and I have made new friends during this pandemic
Yeah,
time.
I would call you a social person.
Yeah, I
You know,
am.
like you're good meeting
Yeah, I'm not
friends.
quite bashful. I have one of my best friends
Yeah.
is more on the kind of has a little bit of social anxiety. She's a little more of an introvert, but she can be very social, but she's not one to like I'd be her wing woman. You know, like I'd be
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who would I'm not afraid to talk to strangers. And I mean I think you're kind of similar. You may be just like you don't feel
I
like talking
mean,
to people.
I am world's best wing woman.
You
Let me
are.
just
You
tell all y'all that right now. Am I good in other ways? Not really, but I'm a great wing woman. Yeah, you want to drag me out somewhere? We'll have fun.
It's true. I mean, I think we've probably both switched roles in being each other's wing women at one time or another throughout
Definitely.
the years. But
Yeah.
I like the term like friendscape because it's this sort of like what is the current friendscape right now? And I was thinking about this a
Oh,
lot.
not like escape,
No, like a
being
landscape. Like
meaning
what's
like
the
landscape. Yeah.
exactly
Okay.
like a friendscape? You know, how has it kind of changed since in the last few years? I mean, since the pandemic, we're still kind of in it. It's hard to really define that, but there's a lot of you know stuff out there that I've read just about you know just varying opinions about how their relationships and friendships have changed. And I was just thinking about my own personal experience, and you know it's obviously very nuanced depending on the person, but there are some people it's just interesting to me like what makes friendships stick. Like if
Yeah.
you are really close to someone and you spend a lot of physical time with them, like you were in IRL with them, and
Yeah.
then you went through the pandemic, you didn't see them very much, but you had such a strong bond that you kept in touch in other ways by like on the phone, and maybe you had Zoom parties, whatever it was, wrote letters, I don't know. But it's so interesting because I feel like there's just such a wide range of I have made some friends that I've had for a while that I wasn't that close to kind of
But
came
deeper
back around. Yeah.
connections. Yeah.
And some of those girls were up here for the girls' weekend. And I would say, like, they're the ones I know the least, but I feel like kind of close to them now because
Yeah.
we've kind of had this new, it's like almost this new chapter and this, it's sort of like a fresh blossoming continuing friendship, but it's like stronger than it was pre-pandemic. You know, so there's some of those people that have fallen off. Like I have some acquaintances that I used to hang out with in LA that I would just like go out for drinks, go out to dinner. I really liked them and we had fun
Mm-hmm.
and you know some of them were even work friends and now we're kind of Instagram friends. And it's not because of anything in particular, but just that I moved away and we people stopped being out and about as much and we just
Yeah.
don't see each we just don't we didn't have a lot to hold on to because we mostly hung out in real life and that was the basis of our relationship.
Totally.
And you know it's not
Yeah,
just the
and
pandemic.
what you described about, some people that like in real life you either didn't know them that well or just I don't know, maybe didn't feel like BFF connection with,
Yeah,
not that they weren't great. It turns out that in a different medium, you kind of are like, "You know what? I'm like connecting
yeah,
with you a lot." And I
exactly.
think that like n- n- all things are correct.
Yeah.
Like everything is right about this, and it's
Hmm.
really kind of cool in a way because I've had a few of those same situations for better and worse.
Exactly.
You
It's
know?
almost like a renaissance and then the opposite of a renaissance, I guess. Like it's just change and sometimes change can be so refreshing because it's just new and exciting and like it was funny because I made a comment like about one it was like one person in particular where I was like, "God, when was the last time I saw you?" Da 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 like and then then they made a joke. Some of my friends made a joke like, "Well, I haven't seen her either and we live in the same town." So it's like even though I moved and changed my routine, some of the same people that lived in the same area didn't see each other either. They're still friends, but people in the
Yeah.
same city, people just aren't seeing each other as often, you know,
I don't know.
because
I mean, I there are definitely I will not say there haven't been like a few people in my life that have dropped off a bit where that hasn't kind of hurt my heart a little bit.
yes, of course.
Because it's been a tough few years, for
Absolutely.
so many people for so many reasons. So there's definitely that. But I mean, I don't really feel like don't know. At this point, I feel like if somebody I really, really care about, I haven't talked to in, I don't know, a month, long enough for me to be like, what's up? Then I'll just say, what's up?
Exactly.
And see where they are. And if they're going through something, they can tell me that. Or
Exactly.
we can, it's like, it's kind of like this little dance
It
that you
is a
do
little
with everybody.
dance. It
But
really
but
is.
it's not, for the most part, I feel like it's not really dramatic.
It isn't dramatic, and it's ebb and flow. It really is. And I talked about this very thing with those friends here this weekend, and it was actually talked about in one of the newsletters. God, I feel like it's all about newsletters right now. I feel like I keep stumbling upon these interesting writers who are now doing newsletters, and you sign
I'm
up
just
for
like,
their
send a spam, send a spam.
I know,
No
seriously.
newsletter.
Too
I
many,
can't
too
do
many
it. I just can't
newsletters.
do
I
it.
can't do it either. In fact,
No.
I actually signed up for one because I liked the first one, and I'm like, maybe I should just let it be. Just that one was good. Why do I need to sign up for future ones? And then I'm getting these emails, and I'm like, who's that? Like, what? This has got to be spam. And then I realize it's a newsletter I signed up for, and I don't recognize the name. We are reverting back to what, early 2000s?
Oh,
when
Heather, just hold on for the ride.
Oh, I remember what the quote was. It was I don't remember which article or newsletter this was from, but it was something like, this is the hardest time to make friends in human history. And I thought that was interesting. It's like, how do you even gather data from like medieval times, and like how easy or hard it was to like make friends during those times? I mean, that seems like a very difficult thing for like a historian.
what was it, 2 episodes ago where we talked about answering machines? Like,
Yeah, that's
remember
true.
how hard it was to
Yeah.
get somebody on the phone?
Totally.
You know, now I'd be like, is Heather dead? She didn't answer me like 5 seconds ago.
I think it's like,
where like if we were in high school, I would have been like, well, she's probably at soccer, and so like
Exactly.
maybe she'll like get back to me like within the next 3 days.
exactly. Isn't that why like the phrase proof of life has like become more of a thing? Because yeah, you
I am alive.
yeah, it's like I that happens a lot with my friends where it's like, gosh, I haven't heard from so and so for 2 months. I hope she's okay, because she really ducked out. Like, nobody's heard from her. Like, where is she? So it's like proof of life. But I don't know. It's an interesting subject that I would like to unpack more. I mean, I know we only have limited time here on the show, but I'd love to hear from y'all out there. Any little scenarios you could share with us about how your relationships have changed in not just since the pandemic, because we are still in it. It's been several years now, so a lot of time has passed. Have you had any relationships that have kind of held strong, or any that have kind of like collapsed,
Or flourished.
because of
who
the
knows?
situation that we're in? It is very fascinating to me. It's like a renaissance of some kind, like a very small kind of personal renaissance. Anyway, please email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. We'd love to hear from you, as always.
We
And
sure
forever.
would. And to everybody who emails us, we love those emails. Do keep them coming. You got something on your mind? Just go ahead and email us. But wanted to give a quick shout out to our Patreon community. Patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is where you can find out more about directly supporting the show, ad-free versions of the show, and some perks. If you want to know more about that, you can go to havesuchagoodday.com.
Yeah, or better yet, just sign up as a $5 Discorder and get a code from us and jump into Discord and jump into the conversation, which we have to, it's funny. It depends on the week. Sarah, I think I mentioned this, a friend said recently, it's like, you get picked up by life and you get like rushed along, and it's like you can't even communicate with anybody for whatever it is, hours, days, weeks, because life just like takes you on this wild ride. And then all of a sudden you have a moment and you're like, oh, I gotta check in with my Discorders. How are they doing? Let us know if you have any ideas for the show, anything that you want us to talk about.
Indeed.
We might not write back at 3 a.m., but
I mean,
if
go
you
ahead
ping
and
us,
send
we
it.
will
Yeah,
write you
we'll be
back
the
at some
first
point.
one. But before I just go too off the rails here, I think, Heather, 164, the episode, is in the can.
It is definitely.
It's in the can. plan, and I think it's gonna blossom nicely. So everybody, thanks so much for listening and being with us, and we love you all so much. Until next week, I will remain Sarah.
And I will be Heather. Stay beautiful. That's an order.
I almost said I was Heather. I almost did it.
See?
I almost did it.
It's actually kind of easy to do. It's an easy slip. It's so weird.
I was like, I will remain Sarah.
I know you were so shocked when I did that, but like it's actually kind of weirdly easy. Oh, God.
All right. Audi 5000 G.